7 years ago. If I looked up the term meditation and women in Apple Podcasts, one podcast existed. And I looked at that and I was like, you've got to be kidding me. And immediately my gut was like, you have something to contribute here. And there are listeners who are searching for meditation who are women, who at the moment that they see themselves in a podcast, they will listen. You have something to say. Why not you?
Miss Katie Krimitsos, thank you for joining us here on Live from the Show.
Live from the show.
PodFest edition.
Woo-hoo. Hi, Corey.
Hi. I love seeing you. Every time I see you, you're like a ray of sunshine. Like, you make me happy.
Aw, thanks.
And then you walk in and like your kids got no shoes on and like I can't even tell you, like I want to go out dance in the rain.
That's what we do. We hope to bring that vibe everywhere we go. So
Good. I wanted to sit and talk to you because you have created this incredible network for women. What made you fall into that niche?
My first solo entrepreneurial endeavor was a podcast called Biz Women Rock.
Yeah.
And I launched it in 2014. I loved entrepreneurship. I could talk about it for days. I probably still can. And I just knew I was so fascinated by how women did this. Mm-hmm. I was putting on masterminds. I did live retreats. I had courses. I had memberships. Mm-hmm. I was online. I was live. And my face was everywhere. I had really strong niche community, really like sticky community. And I loved it. And somewhere in that mix, about a year and a half in, I had my first baby, Sedona, and slowly but surely sort of figured out the mompreneur equation that worked for me at the time. And meaning that I felt really good doing work that I loved and being the mom that I wanted to be. And it felt great. And so I was really on fire. 2017 hits, I hit my first 6-figure year. And I'm like, January comes of 2018. I'm like, yeah, this is amazing. I have all these things now. I feel like I've like hit my groove. I'm going to launch XYZ. I'm going to have the big event. I'm going to do this. I'm going to triple my reach. I'm going to triple my business and it's going to be phenomenal. And Q1 passes and I'm checking all the marks, right? Like, yes, we're on it. And in April of 2018, I found out that we were pregnant with Savannah. Oh. And in a heartbeat, I just heard my intuition say, you're done with that business. You're done with that business. And thankfully, I have had enough experience hearing my intuition and knowing what my intuition sounds like, and enough experience not following my intuition to know that that's not really an option, to know like, I need to listen to this. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to gloss over that it was really a painful mini season for me in that like, I really just decided to pause. I decided I wasn't going to make any big decisions. I was just going to kind of pause. I was going to take care of the clients and the things that were already rolling, right? Mm-hmm. But I wasn't going to like launch anything new. I wasn't going to go forward with the big plans that I had because I didn't know. And so I paused and, probably for what amounted to about 2 months, I would just like go on walks with Chris, my husband, every day. And every day he would just let me vent out. Like one day it was like, no, I'm going to like take Biz Women Rock to like a multi-million-dollar business as a mom of two. It's going to be great. And then the next day it'd be like, I'm going to be a stay-at-home mom. I ain't doing this business thing, right? And like everything in between. And one day, weeks and weeks and weeks into this process, I'm finished with my vent and he looks at me and he says, what about that meditation idea? And what he was referring to was back in January of that year when I was putting together this big plan, I had an idea for a meditation podcast for women, but I didn't do anything with it because it didn't really fit with anything I was doing. It was really an outlier.
Right.
I had told him about it, and being the incredibly wise and in tune podcast person that he is, he was like, oh my God, that's such a good idea. But he didn't say anything, to his credit. But now here we were in April, really, and he's like, or May, I think it was, what about that meditation idea? I'm like, what about it? He's like, what about it? And within an hour, we had brainstormed out what this thing was and could be. And I saw very clearly, I was like, oh, this is my next evolution with women. Like, I can totally see that. It was really the antithesis of what you learn to do in business. I was going, in business, you learn, like, go into the niche, niche down. And here I was going bigger. I wanted to cast a bigger net. I wanted to go from women entrepreneurs to just women, like that's a big niche. No one knew me for meditation. Like no one, it was a personal, very imperfect practice of mine.
Yeah.
There was nothing in my branding that was meditation. So it seemed incredibly odd to the outsider. It was like, what kind of non sequitur life are you living? Like, this doesn't make sense. But I knew. I was nervous. I definitely had some moments of like, who the hell do I think I am trying to do this? But I had enough self-knowing to trust, like, no, this is what you're supposed to do. So just take a step, take a step. So I launched the very first podcast, Meditation for Women, in July of 2018. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And now we're about to launch our 25th podcast.
Yeah.
We have 25 podcasts under the Women's Meditation Network. We've reached about 250 million views and downloads across all of our platforms over 7.5 years. We get about 3 million downloads a month across our podcasts, and it's really amazing.
There's a lot of people, women, men, thinking that their idea is too niche.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would you say to those people?
You know, I feel like there's benefit in being broad and there's benefit in being really niche, and there's pros and cons to both. I have become both. So like I have the Women's Meditation Network. That's incredibly broad, right? My original show, Meditation for Women, incredibly broad. But what I started doing, the reason I have 25 shows is because I, little by little, for two reasons. Number one, I would look at stats, and after X amount of months or what have you, I would experiment with different kinds of meditations on my original show. And I would start noticing like, hey, 8 out of my top 10 shows are sleep. They're my sleep shows. So I would branch that off. And then my second show is a sleep meditation for women. I would do that same thing. Like every couple of months, I started really doing that, like looking at the stats and saying, what are people listening to, right? The niche itself was sort of in the desire or the outcome that somebody wanted, right? So I was able to take this very broad, general idea, and all of our podcasts are really for niche audiences. People who are like, we have a meditation for anxiety. We have panic attack meditation. We have a meditation for kids. That in and of itself is sort of extremely broad, but our more recent ones, meditation for menopause and perimenopause, meditation for travel. Like so I've gone big, right? But in that, I have continued to search for audiences who identify with a particular topic or experience or season in life or desire that they have, right? And so I think you can get the benefits out of both.
What would you say to that podcaster? Woman, man, that is just starting out, they're not seeing growth, what would you say to them?
I would say to them, stop listening to advice from anyone and get really in tune with themselves. Be willing to like listen to when your intuition is telling you like, God, this just ain't working, right? And rather than feeling the shame or frustration or anger from that, which is natural, so let those feels happen, but like take that and say, okay, that didn't work. What else could I do? And I really am, if you're going to go out and get external advice from other people, from wherever, have an intention with receiving that.
Yeah.
Meaning it's so easy to be like, oh, well, that method worked for that person. I have to do that. Like you really have to discern what you're going to do, what actions you're going to take. There's a difference between seeking out knowledge because you need to fulfill a desire you already have, or like an intention you already have. Like, okay, this thing is not working. What can I do? And like, I need knowledge because I don't know what I don't know. That's one thing, right? And that's valid. But then there's another, like, I need someone to tell me what to do. And so I need to go look for somebody else who's smarter than me to just tell me what to do, and you have to have a little bit of hesitation with that. Anyway, my whole point is that you know everything you need. And if you don't have the knowledge to do it, go find that knowledge, right? But the intention, the direction, the options, like you know all that stuff. So it's no one else needs to tell you when to change. No one else needs to tell you when to pivot. No one else needs to tell you what to do. Like, just play with it if it's not working until it starts clicking. And if it doesn't, it's okay. If you feel like you've like worked this thing 8 times to Sunday and it's still not really clicking, maybe like sit with yourself for a little bit and be like, where should I go from here? You know, maybe it's doing something else. I mean, I know, I'm thinking of one example in mind, like one of our friends, Gabe Aloisi, started as a podcaster and was doing, he was an advertising agency a marketing agency that worked with private golf clubs. And he loved golf. He was helping them out. Right. Mm-hmm. And he started sort of building up that audience because he wanted to be the guy to be hired to do golf resort type things. And little by little, like he started his own podcast that then ended up being more like just golf type stuff. But he's like, wait a minute, this needs to be visual. So he ended up completely pivoting, starting a YouTube channel and creating like what at first was sort of a lifestyle golf, like let's go, record this like movie like thing out on this golf course, right? And eventually that turned into him doing product reviews. Now, I don't know where he is right now. I think he has over 100,000. So I'm almost certain he has over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube. The point is that you are not, I can almost guarantee you're not going to end up where you started, nor where you think you were going to start when you began. Yeah. So your job is just to listen to yourself, to navigate that road.